in terms of, you know, what your perspective is on really race and how you see that playing a factor.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to share a story I shared with some folks before as it relates to social media. Probably that's the best way I can answer this question. About a year ago, I was invited to a social media conference in Westwood, in the west side of LA. A lot of entertainment folks, so a lot of folks who deal in that cross between the entertainment industry and social media were there. And like the Romans used to say that the truth flows with wine. So this was already 2 or 3 cocktails in to the evening. Already the last folks who were there, maybe about 10:30, 11 p.m. I was talking to a guy who I met there, was introduced to by a social media giant. So figured I should listen to what he had to say. He said he was in PR, but that he was an early adopter in Twitter. And I said, really, when did you start? He said, 2006. I said, well, then you were an early adopter, sure. And he said that, he's met all these people, and we got to talking, and he said something that made me then want to say, you know what the dirty little secret about Twitter is? Now, what I was about to tell him was that all the bots. So all the bots on Twitter that, you can have a couple of hundred followers, but how many of them are actual real people, right, that are reading your tweets and can reply back, and how many of them are bots that just, who knows what I'm talking about? Yes, thank you, thank you, okay, thank you. So before I could get that thought out, by the way, I was one of the few, I was I think the only Latino there, and one of the few people of color there. So he was white, and I'm talking, and he said, before I said, you know what one of the little dirty secrets of Twitter is? He said, what, that it's all black people? And just like that, and in a matter of about a second and a half, he blurted that out. He saw my stunned look, and he tried to put the words back in his mouth at the same time, seeing my shock. And then he spent the next 2 minutes trying to explain what he meant. And I just said, okay, well, I gave you a chance to walk back from the plank, but you've done enough. So I said, look, I think, so I basically, told him that, so what's wrong with that? What's wrong with what, but he basically dug himself into a hole. What he was referring to, you don't have to be a total newbie to Twitter to know that essentially African American folks drive trending topics all the time. That's something I think Twitter knows from what I've heard from folks at Twitter and folks in general. Latism, who here has seen the Latism hashtag on Twitter? Latism hashtag gets over about 1.1 million uses on any given day, not week. Yeah, so what does this mean? What's the point here? And this is what I said to this guy, who I almost said his name, but yeah, he doesn't need that much credit. But this is what I said to him. We've created a parallel universe. Latino folks, African American folks have created a parallel universe within this platform. So it's happening, but not for the trending topics, it would almost go completely unseen. But because there's a hashtag like I hate you win, or whatever else is, right, like a hashtag, and then, if it wasn't for that, it could literally, and then maybe, it would literally go almost unseen. And then it kind of then begs the question, well then, and this is something we were talking about offline, and that I was talking about with some of the folks here, why then? Why does this happen? How did this happen? Why did we jump on this and love it? Well, I think my own, I guess rationale or theory is that black and brown folks from day one, we've learned to speak and communicate in code as a means of survival, So whether or not that's Galof or Chicanos, where you speak in code, it's not Spanish, it's something different, right? or black folk and speaking in code and communicating in code. We've done it from day one. Creating a parallel universe and creating a means of communication within a means of communication is nothing foreign. So I think the real question then is, to the extent that there is expertise that's being built, to the extent that there's content that's being built, I want to see that be part of conferences of any sort. This conference or this series of conference, any other conference, to make certain that we don't have a two-tiered means of communication and dialogue. That's really, I think, what it boils down to.
I think that's great. Kashif, is there anything